now is the perfect time to visit South Africa's Stellenbosch for good food, great wines and a slice of culture. If you're rethinking about getting some winter sun and love wine and good food, it's time you booked a holiday to South Africa's Stellenbosch. The stunning region is situated just outside of Cape Town in the Western Cape, and it produces some of the most famous wines in the country. But more than that, it's a destination that's rich in history, full of culture, and there are plenty of activities to help you work off all that delicious food. And now is the perfect time to go. As South Africa is in the southern hemisphere, it is currently coming into their summer, so there are long warm days and balmy nights. What's more, the exchange rate is exceptionally good for Brits, around R18 to £1 right now, so your pound can stretch further even with Brexit. Here are a few things you need to do while in Stellenbosch. Of course you weren't going to miss a wine tasting while visiting a wine region. But with some 800 wine estates to choose from, where do you go first? Well, there are a few famous names not to be missed. The Lanzerak wine estate bottled the first Pinotage in South Africa. The grape variety is a cross between Pinot Noir and Cinsault, and is now synonymous with South African wine, so if you only try one thing, that's it. They also do a great chocolate and wine tasting for R120 per person, where you get to try a selection of wines with their bespoke chocolates. South Africa has its own version of sparkling wine, known as Methode Cap Classique, MCC, which is made in the same way as champagne. One of the biggest and most famous of the MCC producers is JC Leroux, where you can take a tour of their bottling plant and taste a selection of MCCs for R90 per person. And if you're feeling adventurous, you can also buy a bottle and try your hand at Sabridge. At Jordan, you will get some of the best views of the region on a clear day. You will be able to see all the way to Cape Town and False and Table Bays beyond that. You can make the most of that view with a wine safari, where you get to explore the vineyard on a safari-style Range Rover and taste the wines right next to the vineyard. It costs R450 per person, and there needs to be at least 2 of you on the safari. What a view to do a tasting in front of! The guys at Jordan_Wines are very lucky. #Cape Town, #South Africa, #Stellenbosch, #Explore, #Travel, #Traveler, #Traveling, #Hotel, #Wine, #Tourist, #Holiday, #Exploring, #Wineland, #Wine Lover, #Beautiful Destinations. A post shared by Kinsey, at Kingseasays, on November 14, 2017 at 5:44 a.m. PST. You can find more wine estates to visit on the Stellenbosch Winearts website. You have to drive to most of the wine estates in Stellenbosch, though they are situated relatively close together. A cycling tour around the vineyards is a good alternative if you don't have a car handy. Adventure Shop does a cycling tour around Stellenbosch town, which also visits a couple of the nearby vineyards, including Lanzerak. It costs R750 per person, and you get a bit of the history of Stellenbosch as well as 2 tastings and some snacks. You do have to be quite fit for this though. If you don't feel like being very active, a walking tour is a great way to get to know Stellenbosch. The town center is very picturesque, with lots of Cape Dutch architecture and outdoor art. Bites and Sights have just the right combination of food and culture on their Foodies on Foot tour, which is great value at R570 per person. You get to see the key tourist spots in the town, including the oldest house, and get a real insight into the history of the area, from the Dutch founder Simon van der Stel to the arrival of the French Huguenots and the Brits. Along the way, you also get to sample some of the local produce, like biltong and honey bush tea. With local pastries and cakes, and even a couple of glasses of wine to sample, you leave pretty full. Townships are inextricably linked to South Africa's landscape and history, especially during the apartheid era. While they were, and remain, relatively poor settlements, the people who live within them are very enterprising. Part of that is to bring tourism into the townships, including through tours and homestays. In Stellenbosch, you can dine with a local in the township of Kyamandi. No Cape Ed, who is of Xhosa descent, hosts evenings in her mother's home where guests can learn about traditional Xhosa cuisine, culture and even watch a performance. The experience costs are $4.80 per person and includes transport to the township, dinner and entertainment. You see a lot of wildlife in Stellenbosch. There are birds everywhere and, if you're lucky, you might even spot a deer darting between the vines. But Virgno Egged Wine Estate has gone a step further by employing a flock of 800 or so ducks in their vineyard. They waddle between the vines every day, gobbling up pests like snails. And twice a day, when they go to work and when they come home, visitors can watch the ducks parade through the estate for art 10. There is good food in abundance in Stellenbosch and most wine estates have their own restaurant so you can try the wine with food. Spear Wine Farm has a farm-to-table concept where most of the produce comes from the estate's own farmland. Their meat is exceptionally good and the menu changes daily depending on what comes in. Lanzarote is a great spot for lunch. Their deli offers some delicious sandwiches, or you can build your own. And if the weather is good, you can even get a picnic basket and enjoy it while looking over the vines. Kleinzals, a huge estate with a golf course, is home to the award-winning Terroir restaurant. Love this, the menu at Kleinzals and number 39, Terroir restaurant. Cape Town South Africa Stellenbosch explore travel traveler traveling wine tourist holiday exploring wineland wine lover beautiful destinations restaurant book food. A post shared by Kinsey, at Kingsees, on November 14, 2017 at 9:36 p.m. PST. It has reminiscent of a French bistro, where the seasonal menu is handwritten on a blackboard and presented to each table for ordering, but the ingredients are distinctively South African. There are plenty of options, too, if you want to try game meat. You can find more places to eat on Stellenbosch 360. There are lots of accommodation options in Stellenbosch, but staying on one of the wine farms is probably the best way to get immersed in the region. Spear Wine Farm has spacious rooms starting from $1,815 per room including breakfast. There is a couple of restaurants on the estate if you don't fancy venturing out. Hey from Stellenbosch,